Hi everyone, I'm Sandy Peckinpah. I'm joining you live on Facebook Live today, this Tuesday, this hot Tuesday in Southern California. And I am an author, I'm a writer, I'm a real estate agent, and most of all, I passionately love sharing my story and helping people realize that they can wake up their creative lives to more options than they ever thought they had. So I love sharing my story as a platform, as a backdrop for being able to help you look at your story in a new way. Hey, Cynthia, I'm glad you're here. I've done probably over 300 broadcasts on Periscope and Facebook Live, and I stopped for about 2 years almost. And I got really busy with real estate and with life and things that were going on. I was caring for my elderly parent, my father, who passed away last year. And I realized in that process that I had so much more that I wanted to share. And I don't know, I just got really excited about starting live streaming again so that I could share my thoughts and my experiences of these last 2 years. And I'm so glad that you're joining me, because this fuels me. This gives me a lot to write about. For those of you who don't know me, I write for lots of different platforms. I write for Huffington Post. I write for The Mission on Medium. I write for The Startup, for the Good Men, not Good Men Project. Yes, it is the Good Men Project, sorry. And Thrive Global, which is Ariana Huffington's platform for personal development. And I love sharing so much on those platforms, and what I need is that feedback from you so that I can continue to write, because creative work is a two-way street. You can create and create and create and hide it in a closet and nothing ever happens to it, or you can create and put it out there for the world and get the feedback on the meaning of your life, what your life is all about. So here's what I'm talking about. First of all, Monday, we talked about how your life is shaped by circumstances. And we talked about how your perspective of your life and the things that happen to you contribute to who you are today. And on Tuesday, we talked about how all of those things help you grow. And somewhere in this search for peace and happiness, you may still be confused about what all of your past means in your life today. And so today, I want to introduce the idea that the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Hey, Lori, I'm glad to see you. Yay, I'm getting all of my people back. I'm so glad. So again, I want to just reiterate, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. The mind is your battleground, and it's the place where the greatest conflict resides. Now, that line is from one of my favorite writers on the internet. His name is Mark Chernoff, and he and his wife write personal development stories, ideas, wisdom beyond their years. He said, again, I want to reiterate, the mind is your battleground. It's the place where the greatest conflict resides. It's where many of the things you thought were going to happen never did happen. Now, I think that's the place that most people get stuck, because that's where the fear comes in. We start to lose confidence that we will be able to handle what comes our way. Yesterday, we talked about the role that resilience plays in our lives, and we don't always have the confidence that resilience is actually something that we can tap into. We fear the unknown. We fear that next step. But what we actually fear is the whole picture, because we don't know what that is. It's the unknown. Lack of confidence is a normal and natural reaction to that new stage of life. It's normal and natural to have that lack of confidence because we don't know what to expect. But you will never grow if you stay in the same place and don't take that next step. So if your yesterday is the same as today, then your tomorrow is going to be the same. It will not be any different. So you can look at, what can I do today that will make tomorrow different? Now, I can tell you what I did. I absolutely love taking courses and classes from other people, especially online, because my job demands that I work during the day, and then later in the afternoon when things wind down, I have the opportunity to fuel my brain. And so today I signed up for a course, and I'm so excited because it's going to make me more efficient in connecting with you. And I invested my hard-earned dollars on taking this new course. I'm very excited about it, and I'll be bringing what I learned to you. And I thought, this will help me communicate better with those of you that I desire with all my heart to communicate with. So you can always figure out, if you really put your mind to it, a better version of you than the one that's held you back. I think about this. How many times do you say, or maybe you hear other people say, I'm not a confident person. I'm just not confident. But in reality, is that really true? Because you may be confident in some areas of your life and not confident in others. In some areas of your life, you may shine, and other areas you feel a lack of confidence. And that confidence comes from the unknown. There isn't a single person on the planet who doesn't feel that they're fully confident in every area of their life, even the most successful people in the world. But where does this lack of confidence come from? I can tell you, because I've been researching this. Lack of confidence comes from what we believe about ourselves. There are thoughts that you have over and over again that reinforce what you think about yourself. They may be true or not true. Now, I had a lack of confidence in starting writing again. I kept thinking, if I could just get published, then I would feel more confident. If I would just get on Huffington Post, then I would feel more confident. And the truth is that even after my first article on Huffington Post, I was still afraid to call myself a writer. It took me a while because I kept thinking, am I good enough? Is anybody going to read my stuff? Will people find value in my stuff? And it took working on my own mindset and looking back on my past at where this lack of confidence came from. Now, I set out to write a book in 2013, and I had said that I was going to write this book. This would be my fourth book. I had written 3 books up to that point. I wrote 2 in the early 90s and then 1 in the 2000s, and then this one I started in 2013. And it was a book that I said I would always write. But I kept putting it off and putting it off because I had such a lack of confidence that I could do justice to the topic that I wanted to write about. And of course, that topic came from my own life. People don't realize how hard it is to write about yourself. you wonder, will people find this interesting because you do? Or will you have something worthwhile that makes people say, I'm so glad I read that book? Well, I discovered the courage because I recognized that my why, the reason I wanted to write that book, was greater than my fear. And I had actually felt that the first time with my very first book, because my daughter inspired me to write my very first book. So once I understood that I had a very strong why, I had to write that book. I had to commit to it. And suddenly my lack of confidence dissipated, and I could visualize that one person that might benefit from reading my book. That one person. I didn't need many people reading my book. I just knew in my heart that if one person read that book, it would serve its purpose. And I'm so proud of it because, actually, I don't think I shared this with you. I was contacted by someone who wanted to publish the book in China because there is a real struggle with parents in China who lose children because they have one-child policy. Apparently, the grief recovery is so difficult there. And I am so proud that my book was selected as the first of a set of 3 books they'll be publishing in China. And this is through a publisher that is run by the Chinese government. My book is going to be published, translated and published. It'll be out in September. And this is for the parents that are struggling with loss of their beautiful children. And I am so grateful because that's one more piece of the legacy that I had in writing this book, because I wanted my son's life to mean something. So did that help my confidence? Yes. Oh, thank you for the heart. That's beautiful. Did that help my confidence? You bet. You bet. In fact, I think that's why I started live streaming again, because it was one more layer of confidence that I thought, I do have something to say. My life does mean something. And that's what I want to tell you about your life, is that everything you've experienced has meaning. And I know every one of you on this broadcast has had life experiences that are important and meaningful to someone else. I know that sometimes lack of confidence can be paralyzing, but all you need to do, and I've said this over and over again, all you need to do is just take the very next step. And if that means that you need to sit down and outline your book or write an article or reach out to someone that you know is struggling, or whatever it is that you have in your heart, don't wait. A lot of us wait to have those difficult conversations, like when you know someone is ill or someone is going through a tough time. And maybe you can relate to what they're experiencing. But you don't want those difficult conversations to die with you. You want to have those conversations. And I think that's the greatest gift that I learned in losing my father this last year, was that I was able to sit down with him and tell him what he meant to me and how I felt about him and the wonderful childhood I had. I was so fortunate that my parents and my family, I have so many brothers and sisters, we had a delightful childhood. It was one where my creativity could soar. My parents let me leave home at 16 to go travel to New York to be in a show that traveled the world. Now, how about that? Isn't that crazy? At 16 years old, they were confident that I could take high school on the road and go fulfill my heart's desire. I thanked my father for that. I thanked him for being so supportive all these years of my creative spirit and being such a loving father. I am so fortunate. So I want to leave you with that. A lot of people feel lack of confidence that maybe your words don't mean anything or your conversation wouldn't mean something in people's lives. But I promise you, it will mean the world. I promise you. I'm so grateful to those people that reach out to me. They remind me that I need to reach out to others. So tomorrow, I want to, oh, Shirley, hello, how are you? You made it. If you made it late, you can replay this. Tomorrow, I want you to bring a paper and pencil because I want to pose some questions to you of learning exactly where your lack of confidence lies, how it happened, what things in your life caused you to feel a lack of confidence. And we'll define those areas, and I'm going to tell you how to bring those to light and make them work for you instead of against you. So thank you so much for joining me. If you missed part of this broadcast, I think if you could just replay it and start from the beginning, I hope you'll find some value in this. We covered a lot of ground in this short amount of time. And tomorrow we're expanding it to be about you because I want you to experience the joy of figuring out where those triggers are in your lack of confidence and how to get rid of them, how to discharge them. Okay? So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be back broadcasting. I've missed you all so much. And I typically come on at 5 o'clock in live stream with Sandy Peckinpah. So if you have any questions, please feel free you can message me or leave a message on the broadcast. I read every comment. I can't always see every comment because if I wore glasses during the broadcast, it reflects. I tried it. So just leave a comment in the discussion column or you can private message me. I'm so glad you're here. Have a great evening.